Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I am your host, Sean, and I'm just so glad you guys are here. I'm really glad that everyone is getting involved. I've seen the subscribers increasing a bit in the last week or so, which is always excellent. I do love seeing that. I'd love to see it get a little higher. And like I said in my last video, I am planning a giveaway, potentially 2 giveaways soon to kind of wrap up the season. And then obviously I promised another one if we did win the FA Cup and beat City in the final. So, but in order to be entered into those giveaways, you need to be subscribed to the channel, getting involved. Let me know that, you guys are watching. Let me know your thoughts on the videos, on my opinions, and let me know that you are interested in what I have to say, even if you're not. But that is how you are entered. I will be looking through the subscribers and picking one randomly, and I will reach out to see what we want to do for that. But in any case, apologies for coming by a little later today. Half and half with just waiting on some of the news to come out a little later, and then my schedule. Then also have some personal stuff going on. Had a death in my wife's family, so just been trying to focus on that, trying to do a lot of stuff around here so my wife can go be with her siblings, and they can all kind of be there for each other. So it's been a bit of a running around, bit of a scramble, but just if you do find in your heart to extend some well wishes, good thoughts, good prayers, whatever you want to call it, to my wife and her family, because it's a big loss. No one likes to lose a child, and so it's pretty rough. So I don't want to put out too much information. I won't do that. But what I will say this is, if you guys are struggling, no matter what it is, depression, substance, anxiety, anything, even if it's just stress about school or something, just talk to somebody, parent, friend, teacher, counselor, pastor, whatever. Talk to somebody, get yourself a 2 a.m. friend. What's what we call it in therapy. When you've got a friend who, if you're struggling, if you're having some really rough times in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., if you text, call, or need them to come over, they will show up at 2 a.m. They will answer the phone. They will respond to text message. They will come over to find you at 2 a.m. and just be there with you. Get yourself a couple of those if you can, people that you trust and respect. Because really the only thing worse than everybody knowing your business, everybody knowing what's going on, is nobody knowing. So if you are struggling, please just don't keep it in. It gets poisonous, it gets toxic. Reach out to somebody. So it's my little public service announcement. Again, nothing I say should be taken as professional advice, but I would tell you the same things if I weren't a mental health professional. Just talk to somebody. Getting it out, and even things you don't think people are going to look very highly upon, even if things you're embarrassed about, if you talk and people who love you and know you and respect you, they hear some of your worst issues or some of your worst struggles, and just getting that non-judgment sometimes is all it takes to kind of get you out of that darkness. So just keep that in mind, please, moving forward. I do want to pop in today with a bit of a daily United news roundup, just because that's what we do. The news is a little slower, obviously, now the season's pretty much done, but we did have some big news coming out today, and some big news coming out within the last few hours that I wanted to make sure I touched upon and shared my thoughts on. So before we do get stuck in on the news, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new and you like what you see, and again, subscribe if you want to get involved in the giveaways. It's alive right now, so go ahead and share your thoughts as we're going, and I will make sure to respond. And even if you don't catch me live, you're watching it after the fact, leave a comment, like the video. I will respond to the comments. I love getting involved. And go check me out on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. First and foremost, big up Alejandro Garnacho. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a couple more times throughout the summer, but his bicycle kick goal against Everton, which was a thing of beauty, it was awarded BBC's Goal of the Season award. He's the first United player in over a decade to win that award from the BBC. And the goal actually also won the Athletic FC's Premier League Goal of the Season award as well. So big up Alejandro Garnacho. I mean, do we even need to hold a vote for the Puskas? Do we even need to have a ceremony for that? Why don't we just save everybody a bit of time, a bit of money, a bit of trouble, and just give the award to him now? Just do it. Just do it online. Do it on Zoom or Skype. Do people still use Skype? I don't know. Just do it. Save us all some time. I mean, what's the point of even doing it? Do the other nominees really want to go through the disappointment and the failure? Just give it to him. The kid that was probably the best goal you're going to see all season, as we've seen already twice from two different outlets. So congratulations to Alejandro Garnacho. The goal was amazing, and we know that it's the first of many stellar goals to come from you in a United shirt, and we love you and we appreciate all you do. And it's been a pleasure watching you develop in the last couple of years. So keep it going. We love you. Alejandro. Why is that not a song for him? You know, we got Viva Garnacho. We should be doing that. Alejandro. Sorry, I'm on one today. Moving on. We have a little bit of transfer news potentially regarding our center back search. So Chris Wheeler with the Daily Mail, he reported earlier that United really want Jared Branthwaite. You know, we've been talking about that for weeks. Branthwaite's obviously a name on the list. He's young, he's English, he's big, he's powerful. He's the quintessential kind of Harry Maguire 2.0, basically. Problem is he's going to cost a lot of money. And the problem is his primary foot, his strong foot is his left foot. And Dutch managers such as Ten Hag tend to prefer left foot, left side, right foot, right side. We already have Licha. Branthwaite's not going to move to become second fiddle. So I think the price is probably the biggest sticking point there. So supposedly we're going to try to get him for around 55 million if we can. We know that Everton need to raise some funds. They've had a lot of issues this year with FFP and fines and points deductions and whatnot. And they don't want to sell too many players. You know, Amadou Onana has been heavily rumored to be moving away. So if they can get one player for big money sold, that's better for them than having to sell a bunch of players and still trying to do a rebuild. So they're holding out for about 85 million. That's not going to happen. We're not going to, I mean, I know we've done it in the past, but our new owners, our own FFP situation, and the level of rebuild we have on our hands, we're not going to do that. So if an agreement can't be reached, Wheeler claims that United are also now exploring a move for Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi. He is their club captain. He's 23-year-old English, that Premier League proven thing that everybody loves. I don't mind Guehi. I know he's been injured a little bit this year, but I think he's a good defender, good age, powerful, quick. He's captain, so he's got that leadership that we need, I think. The problem is, you know, Chris Palace have a new manager. They're doing really well. I wouldn't be shocked to see them do even better next year, you know, kind of maybe even challenge for a spot in Europe, Conference League, Europa League, even under Glasner. And Palace are already potentially going to be losing Elise and or Eze this summer. I don't think they're going to want to lose too many players. So, and Oliver Glasner has already kind of shared a little bit of optimism about keeping Guehi at the club. But as always, we will see what happens with that. What the hell is going on at Chelsea, by the way? So if you haven't seen the news yet, crawl out from under your rock and blink in the sunshine and let us know that you're alive. But so Mauricio Pochettino has been sacked today from Chelsea. I mean, I know I've laughed at Pochettino. I know I've said that, you know, Cole Palmer is the reason that they finished the season as strongly as they did. But like I think it's just more of a shock at just the way Chelsea are being run right now. Is that I don't think Pochettino, like, how do you expect to grow as a club? How do you expect to develop and build any semblance of a structure or a plan or anything when you're sacking? Like, how many managers has this been now since Todd Bowley's come in? You know, Potter's gone, Pochettino's gone, Tuchel got sacked. Like, you can't do this. What does it say about you in your decision making when you single-handedly pick out Graham Potter and then turn around and sack him? You single-handedly pick out Mauricio Pochettino, and you turn around and sack him. Like, what? Like, Todd Bowley's got to be the biggest laughingstock in football right now, and that's just the fact. Like, I don't know how. Like, Chelsea fans, what are your thoughts? I know you're probably not watching, but give me your thoughts. I'm gonna go talk to my buddy's brother. He's a big Chelsea fan. I can't wait to hear what his thoughts are. But it's an absolute shambles. Literally no plan whatsoever. And since Todd Bowley's come in, it's been nothing but knee-jerk reaction after knee-jerk reaction after knee-jerk reaction. But like, it's not like a fan having a knee-jerk reaction to a bad result. These are knee-jerk reactions in the context of major club decisions at a Premier League club of the status of Chelsea. You can't do that. And this is what happens when you make bad decisions. This is what happens when you have no idea what you're doing. You have no clue about the sport at all. And you're the one making the calls. Like, needless to say, it's a crazy summer for managers right now. There's so many managers floating around in the free agency pool, just kind of backstroking, lounging on their floaties, sipping their pina coladas. Antonio Conte, he's probably got a bathing cap over his toupee. So yeah, Antonio Conte is floating around. Graham Potter's still floating around. Mourinho, De Zerbi will be leaving now. Thomas Tuchel, Xavi. It's insane. I know some people have been talking about it already on fan channels, but I doubt, again, the Ineos are going to want to. It's the market has changed. And I don't think that right now it's a good time to maybe let go of yet another manager and just pick from all these other ones. Because now you're going to get into a bit of a bidding war with other clubs. Because, yeah, these managers are floating around now, but because their clubs have sacked them. Barcelona, Bayern, Juve. So, yeah, Allegri's another name on the list. West Ham. So David Moyes is out there. Lopetegui's still out there. Chelsea now. These guys are all looking for you. Like, it's bad enough when you get into a bidding war for a player or like a free agent, but now you're looking at bidding wars for managers. Heck, we've got a situation, a tug and war going on with Dan Ashworth at sporting director, which we will get into shortly. So it's such a weird summer. I cannot remember a summer in football where it's just so many different facets of structure in the game and transfers and appointments and all this. All this has been all kind of coming together. And it's like that second Thor movie that we all kind of want to forget, when all the planets, what is that thing called? He said the divergent or some crap, the alignment of all the different worlds, and it all just starts getting crazy. That's kind of what it reminds me of right now. So if you can't tell, I've been kind of running through a lot of the Marvel movies. Usually once a year, I'll kind of just sit down and watch them all in timeline order. So obviously that one was a few weeks ago. I think, what is the one I just watched most recently? Was it the Shang-Chi one? Could have been Shang-Chi. Who knows? I don't remember, but I'm almost wrapped up. There's only a couple that I haven't seen yet. But in any case, managers, crazy. Poch. And I feel a little, I mean, yeah, I don't rate Pochettino highly, but it's still like, why would it, if you were a free agent, if you were a manager right now without a job, would you want to go to Chelsea? I know there's always that sticking point for managers, like especially with like a club like Manchester United, where you're like, I can be the guy. What if I'm the guy who gets them back to where they need to be? What if I'm the guy? Like, there's that. But at the same time, it's like going to Real Madrid. I've told my buddy, he was a big Madrid fan, time and time again, if I was a man, I would not go anywhere near Real Madrid with the way that club is run. Like, I wouldn't do it. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money to go manage Real Madrid with the way they do things over there. So you have to be a guy literally the status of Zidane or Ancelotti to get anything done at that club, which coincidentally is the two managers who have had the most success there. So what are you going to do? All right, so let's dive into the nitty-gritty, as Nacho Libre says. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is all this Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, email gate drama all about? This is insane, y'all. So the Mail has dropped the story. This is at least where I'm getting my information from right now. I'm sure it's come around all over the place, but I'm getting mine from the Mail. So they've dropped the story revealing that Dan Ashworth, who, you know, is on garden leave right now. He was at Newcastle. We want him. he pretty much told Newcastle he wanted to leave, so he's on gardening leave, and we're trying to negotiate. Newcastle are about to appoint maybe their new director, so he's in limbo. We're waiting on him to join us, so that's catching up to speed. So Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada, former Manchester City CEO, now our impending CEO, also on gardening leave, because that's what we do now. We're paying people to just do landscaping these days. So these two, apparently, allegedly, I'll say, have exchanged some emails as recently as February that have caused a bit of a problem. So in these alleged emails, right, Ashworth revealed to Barada that he wanted to become United sporting director. He wanted the job. So allegedly, the email was sent from Ashworth to Barada, Barada at Barada's Ineos email account. Now you remember he's technically like a United employee, but he isn't. I don't know why he has an Ineos email account already, but it is what it is. So basically, though, a United employee for all intents and purposes. The issue, though, is that Ashworth apparently copied this email to his own Newcastle account. I don't know how you accidentally CC somebody. I don't even really know how to CC. I'm so not techie when it comes to stuff like that. It's not even funny. Like I almost like when you saw the thumbnails, how I got like the outline of me on the thumbnail now. That was almost like more spectacular for me than earning my master's. I was bragging about it to my wife. She laughed at me because I was like, look what I did. Like, I wanted a biscuit. Like, somebody hooked me up. So I don't know how you you have to go out of your way to CC on an email, right? So I don't know what he's doing there. But the bigger potential issue here is that supposedly this happened before United reached out to Newcastle to ask about Ashworth. And if true, that also means Barada would have been on gardening leave at this point, making the exchanges a potential breach of contracts, because it would be technically, you could almost construe it as he was working for United while on gardening leave, which you're not supposed to do. So it all comes down to the nature of these conversations, so that's where the tapping up thing comes up. So it's been labeled tapping up, and been called tapping up today. And so again, it could be interpreted as Ashworth being approached and even openly accepting a position at United while employed at Newcastle from a guy who's supposedly on gardening leave, from Man City. So either way you slice it is not a good look if this is true. I know a lot of people are going to be going in on United and Barada because, how involved was he with City's 115 charges? How involved is he in City's alleged, practices and financial workings? I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know. There's a reason I don't go too deeply into the City's 115 charges. And usually when I mention it, it's just that they have the charges. I don't want to sit here and say for sure one thing is true and one thing isn't, because I don't know. It's a lot of reading, and it's the reason I don't get too involved with political stuff, because if I did, I would be the guy who has to cross-reference. If I read one news article from like AP News, I'm gonna have to cross-check that with like 10 other sources just to see where it's coming from, like comparing it, and that it takes a lot of time, and I'm just not willing to put in that kind of time. And so I'm willing to put in a lot of my time for football stuff, Manchester United stuff. I'm so much time, probably more than I should if you ask my wife. But there's a certain level, because the charges have nothing to do with United, so I'm not. It is what it is. It doesn't affect me. If City are guilty, I'm gonna be like, yeah, strip the trophies, strip the records. That includes goal scoring records from Holland and all that stuff. Strip it. I'm not the kind of person who's going to demand this, that, and the other thing. I'm not going to be like, oh, retrospectively give us trophies. I don't do all that. Strip titles, points deductions, whatever you want to do. They're not going to be relegated. They're too big of a club. But, deduct some points, transfer ban, fines, stripped, whatever you want to do that. But I went off on a tangent there. Barada, not a good look. Potential tapping up. We'll see what happens. It's just so weird how this stuff randomly comes out at the most inconvenient times, i.e. days before our FA Cup final. But It is what it is. We know that the news, the media in the UK especially, they do sit on information and leaks and rumors and even legitimate things fed to them by individuals in the know. They will sit on that for months and wait for these kind of moments to do this right before a big match, right before a final, right before this, that, and the other thing. They'll do that. That's what they do. So we will see what happens there. But either way you slice it, like I said, is not a good look. So let's get into the big news that dropped today. Marcus Rashford has been omitted from Gareth Southgate's provisional England squad for this summer's Euros. As United fans, it's one of those things like we're surprised, but we're not surprised because we know and because we watch Marcus Rashford week in, week out. His form this season has been nowhere near good enough and definitely nowhere near his form last season. Remember the last video we went through his numbers. We went through his awards he won last season. If you haven't yet watched that video on my 5 thoughts from United season, please go watch it. Leave a comment, hit the like button on that video, please. I had a fun time doing that. It's a longer video, but I do like the longer videos. And the YouTube analytics show that you guys do as well. So go jump on that, but stay here first. Furthermore, Rashford's also been recovering from an injury over the last month. He's only been played here and there in the last 2 matches. So I don't know if that plays into it. We know that Rashford wants to play. We've seen him make bad decisions in the past when it comes to playing for England and injuries. Remember, he was carrying that back issue, that shoulder issue for a long time at United. He did need surgery, but he opted to wait until after the World Cup to do it. No, was it the World Cup? No, it was the Euros. He opted to wait till after the Euros to do the surgery, which was not a smart choice. He was a lot younger then. He really could have damaged himself long term, and that's just those are the kind of decision making that he needs to improve upon. So it's not just decision making in the final third. So with all this in mind, he's been omitted from the squad. When the news broke this morning, it did come as a bit of a surprise, but again, like I said, it's one of those things where it's both a surprise and not a surprise, right? It's if you said 2 days ago, like, should he go? Probably not. But then when you see that he's not going, you're like, huh, that's interesting. Didn't see that coming. So it's one of those weird things. And a big part of why I waited to come into this video because I was waiting for Gareth Southgate's press conference about the squad. So he did come out today. And he had some comments on the squad selection, including Rashford's omission. Obviously, it's going to be big news because it's Manchester United, hated, adored, never ignored, right? Which is why the media have been mentioning Ten Hag after Arne Slot has been officially confirmed because they just can't keep our names out their mouths, right? So speaking about the decision to omit Rashford, Southgate said, these are, of course, difficult calls. You are talking about very good players who have been very important in what we've done over a number of years. With Marcus, I just feel that other players in that area of the pitch had better seasons. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to call bullshit. I'm just on that one comment. I feel that other players in that area of the pitch had better seasons. So I will call bullshit on that aspect. I'm not going to call bullshit on getting him out of the squad because I don't think he deserved it, but I do call bullshit in some regard. We know that Southgate's gotten a lot of flack over the years for kind of playing favorites, sticking with guys like Jordan Henderson and things because that's just the way he does things. Being American, I don't have a dog in this fight. I watched the Euros, I watched the World Cup, even when the U.S. isn't in it. But I don't have a dog in this fight, so it's not my kind of national connection on the line here. But being a United fan, I have to admit that I don't know if Rashford does deserve to go to the Euros ahead of some of the other attackers selected, but this is where I start to challenge Southgate. So yes, Jared Bowen has been better in my opinion. His goal scoring this season has been spectacular. Phil Foden deserves to go. Eberechi Eze deserves to go. Anthony Gordon, I think, deserves to go. Palmer, Saka, they've all been better, though Saka's probably still limping around somewhere because that's just what he does. Where I take issue with Southgate's comments, though, is Jack Grealish. So he was an iffy choice for me. I'm not saying that I would have necessarily I don't know what I'm saying here, but here's the point here. I don't think that he's that good. Maybe, and I'm a little biased in that regard because I just never thought he was that good. But when you want to deep it, when you say other players have better seasons, Southgate, Grealish only had 3 goals and 3 assists this season. So that's not me being biased. That's just a fact. Rashford had many more than that. If it was between Rashford and Grealish on that context of a player having a better season, you would probably have to say, okay, Rashford's had a better season. So don't know what Southgate's getting there. I think it's more of a mentality thing personally, and I think that maybe this is Southgate not wanting to blow that up, because we know that mentally Rashford's just not been there. Like I said a few moments ago, his decision making this season hasn't been stellar. And again, I'm not just talking about the final ball in the final third of the pitch. I'm talking about his nights out in Belfast. I'm talking about his interview with the Player Tribune. I'm talking about responding to random tweets in the middle of the night, or calling out YouTubers when they say things in a thumbnail. I mean, if you want to call me out, Rashford, anytime, go for it. I will gladly take all the publicity you want to throw my way. But all that being said, this is a teachable moment for Marcus Rashford in terms of this England squad situation. And all these other issues that I just listed, they to me, they scream a guy who's got some struggles going on. And it sounds like it's this. I'm not saying there's a mental health thing necessarily. I'm saying that there's been just setback after setback after setback, and he's not ever kind of gotten out ahead of any one of them. They've all kind of stacked up, whether it's poor form and all these bad decisions that he's making and things. It's just, and we saw him have a go at a fan the other day ahead of the match for the warm-up. I think that not being included in the England squad presents Rashford with yet another kind of internal challenge that he's going to have to do to get over. Challenges can be opportunities, though, with a bit of resilience. I will probably share my thoughts on resilience more in depth in the future. If you want to know a lot of my thoughts on resilience, you can go dig up my my piece for StreadyNews.com that I wrote in winter on resilience. You could probably find it on StreadyNews.com under their opinion section still, if it's still up there. But as far as this situation goes, Rashford has a choice to make. He can choose to blame everyone else for this England snub, or blame everyone else for his poor form this season. He can kick up a fuss. He can try to force a move away from United. He can come out against the manager. He can do all those things if he wants. Or he can take responsibility, tell himself that it's been a difficult season, and yet he did play a role in the difficulties he's faced. He can get his head down. He can work hard, and he can perform for his club on the pitch. These are the choices that you have. This, I mean, it's a teachable moment. He's got to show us that he can, show Ten Hag, show Southgate, he can be coachable. He can take criticism. He can receive it and try to implement those changes. Be coachable, no matter your age, your wages, or your status at a club. You have to be coachable, teachable. You have to be, because otherwise it doesn't work. I know I mentioned the other day, I was watching Livonia City, and because I used to be on the board, I know some of the people who are currently involved, and I took one of them aside after watching a play and asked, like, why is this attacker not getting physical with the defender? Why is he pulling out of these challenges? Why is he not go shoulder to shoulder? And I was told he's just not very coachable. We try, and he's just not listening. And it's like, you have to, those players can cause problems, and that was the situation. Livonia could have grabbed that ball, he could have held it up a little bit, or he could have forced the corner, could have forced the foul, could have got a pen, who knows? But instead of going in, I mean, yeah, the guy had about 60 pounds on him, but still, he's going to have to foul you otherwise. So it is what it is. But let's hope Rashford can learn from this. It's a provisional squad, so maybe there's a chance that he can still get involved. But I think he's going to have to get his head down and do work. And so that's what I mean. He's got a choice. He can build some resilience. Tell himself, yeah, it's been difficult, but I've gotten through these difficulties before. There's no reason to believe I'm not going to get through these ones if I just work hard, take responsibility, take ownership. This is a big sign of maturity. If you can get to this point in your life, you'll be ahead of the curve. If you just learn to take ownership for your part in something, doesn't mean you take all the ownership, doesn't mean you're a doormat for everybody, doesn't mean you're the kind of person who sets themselves on fire to keep other people warm. It means take ownership of your part in your circumstances in a given situation. Okay, it's all you can. It's all you can do. If you can learn how to do that, that will really put you ahead of the curve. And Rashford has an opportunity right now to do that. Get his head down and get to work. he got that big contract after a good season, and he has not shown this season that he respects that contract, that he respects what the fans and the Ten Hag and the owners believe in him. He doesn't shown that, and I'm sure that stuff going on mentally is hard to get through that, but he has to work on resilience. Where the hell is our sports psychologist that we appointed a few years back? Why isn't anyone speaking to him? I hope it's not Rashford just listening to people he surrounds himself with, and if so, maybe these people aren't giving him the best advice. I hope not. It's not outside of the realm of possibility, right? But let's get it going, Rashford. We like you. We believe in you. We love you, man. We support you. We want to get you back to where you need to be. But that starts with you. So take this as a teachable moment. Get your head down, get to work, and move forward. And talk to someone if you're struggling. That's all I got to say. But I don't want to neglect congratulating a particular United player on his England call-up, and that is Kobbie Mainoo. Obviously, he was called up for some friendlies, but he did get called up to the provisional squad, Kobbie, and so I don't want to neglect congratulating him on that. He's had a stellar season. Big up Kobbie Mainoo. He is also the youngest player in the England squad as well, so big up to him. He impressed when he was with England earlier this season. He has been impressive in United in all competitions. He's done really, really well. And he's only been around since late November because of the injury. So that's awesome. And I'm so excited to see what happens with Kobbie moving forward. I know you guys are too. Let me know your thoughts on Ashworth Barada email gate. Let me know your thoughts on Rashford being left out of the England squad. Is that the right call from Southgate? Did Southgate play favorites? Does Rashford deserve to go over Jack Grealish based on what Southgate said? You know, players who had better seasons. Rashford did have a better season. So, and some people will say, well, Grealish won the league. Grealish was barely involved, and he had 3 goals, 3 assists in all competitions. Let's not get it twisted. So, let me know your thoughts. That's going to do it for me today. Unless any major breaking news comes out between now and like Friday, I'm probably going to hold off just to handle some family stuff until Friday rolls around, and I'll do my pre-match preview for the FA Cup final, and then obviously we'll do a reaction after that. Hopefully the reaction will be delayed because I'll be out celebrating, and but if we do somehow win the cup final and you guys do want to be involved in those giveaways, you got to be subscribed to the channel, and then I will take a closer look at the subscribers and we will make that work. Okay, so please like this video, leave a comment to let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to be involved in the giveaways, and go follow me on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody. I am pretty active. Not super active. I don't get involved in beefs and things. It's mostly just commenting on things, mostly matches and stories. But you can still leave me one. Let me know you're there. Let me know you care, and interact. Help the channel and the community grow. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Later.